today? Again, we have just a few more minutes before we get started. It's an honor to have everyone with us today.
পুরো কইলে আর 10 টাকা কিলবা
10 টাকাটা আপনার দেখছি পুরোপুরি করতে হবে নিয়ে থেকে করতে পারতাম
10 টাকা
Yes, I think we have muted everyone. So I'll ask any of our speakers to unmute. For those just joining, feel free to let us know where you're from and also drop in any projects that you're working on. Hello, Layla from Lebanon. Nice to have you. I think it's wonderful to see you again. And this is also an opportunity for networking. So if you want to put in your LinkedIn profile, if anybody would like to connect with each other, you're welcome to do that. Hello, Maham. Nice to have you join us from Pakistan. Wonderful. In Egypt, ESG and sustainability consultant. Wonderful to have you. And Zina from Iraqi region of Kurdistan and Saran University. What an amazing international audience we have. And Dr. Wassam, I'll let us know when we should be getting started here. What are your thoughts?
Maybe 2 minutes and then we start.
Okay, perfect. So it's been wonderful to see what everyone's working on. I see Layla's working at sustainability at school. And any other projects that you're all working on in the sustainability space, or if you're teaching any particular programs that you're passionate about that you would like to share. Oh, I see a LinkedIn profile. Wonderful. Thank you, Eric. IT and Sustainability Director. Thank you so much. And Layla, thank you for dropping in your LinkedIn, and Indira. Sorry. I just realized I popped over there. Thank you, Indira. Let me go ahead and share my screen again. Sorry. Okay, I know we're still letting everyone in. Continue to share your LinkedIn profiles and share any of the projects that you're working on. It's always good to know. And we love to have questions for our speakers. So feel free to jot them down in notes. You can ask them, or you can type them in the chat as the speaker is presenting. So we always love your questions. So we'll get just a heads up on that. And let's see.
Okay, Michelle, so can we start?
Yes, absolutely. Well, welcome everyone. We're so honored to have you with us today. And this is our 4th international talk on green business, sustainability, and climate action. So very unique programs that are out there. And we have just phenomenal speakers with us today. And I want to just give a special thank you as well to Dr. Wassam for continually putting these together, having such amazing contacts. So we have quality speakers always for this event. And we're just honored to have each of you join us today. We're with Dr. Wassam and I are with the Global Green Chamber, as well as the Global Ambassadors of Sustainability. We're expanding on a global level, and we'd love each of you to see how you can participate with us, because with Chambers of Commerce, we don't normally think about sustainability, but we really want to bring the business community together with the academic community to join in with Chambers is something very new. So we see a new path to sustainability through the 3 sectors coming together. We also have councils that were identifying top leaders from around the world to join in a variety of different councils. These are just a few of them that are coming together. We have an upcoming event in person that we'd love for you to join us as well in Turkey. It'll either be maybe late May or early June of 2025. So always love to see people in person. So feel free to contact us. I know each of you probably have Dr. Wassam's information. This is my information, or the U.S. Green Chamber's information. And with that, I will pass this over to Dr. Wassam.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Michelle, for the introduction and for the opening remarks. So yeah, welcome back to our monthly webinar where we are focusing on green business, sustainability, and climate action. So today we are having 3 prominent speakers, and let's start with first speaker. And our first speaker will be Dr. Bayman. She's the president of, So Dr. Bayman Ahmed, and she's the president of the University of Rabarin from Kurdistan. So Dr. Bayman, the floor is yours. So you can now unmute.
Okay, thank you very much. Hello, doctor, how are you doing? I will just share the PowerPoint first. Thank you very much. Good afternoon and good evening. Let's share the PowerPoint first. Let's see. This is, okay, good. So, thank you, Doctor. So, for today's talk, I would be briefly discussing a few issues that would be linked to green business, sustainability, and climate change. The first thing that in the context of climate change, as well as green business, and broadly in sustainability, we have to remember one important thing as a global community, not as communities in different regions or countries. The first thing is that we are living in a century which is in fact full of challenges and changes as well. So when it comes to the challenges as well as issues, majority of the issues are emerged in the developing world, and that would definitely affect advanced economies, including business as well as global developments. When it comes to the issue of unemployment, we have to see that businesses in the developing world, especially in MENA region, Asia, as well as in Central, in Africa, in Central Asia, as well in the Middle East, businesses as well as enterprises cannot provide employment to everyone. That has created a lot of problems in terms of the context of the countries have created a lot of challenges for building green businesses as well as approaching sustainability and climate action. Our economies are less diversified, especially when it comes to economies in the Middle East as well as in MENA, as well as in even if we take Latin America. Most are single resource-driven economies, such as fossil fuel-based economies, and those are the ones that are in fact affecting and influencing global actions that would affect or target sustainability as well as climate change. And again, another issue which is very important in terms of green business as well as sustainability is the resources that we have globally, and how would we use these resources in the future efficiently, as well as avoiding challenges that will affect the lives of the future generation. Pollution has become one of the most important issues, and in fact that could only be solved through green business initiatives. And migration is another reason which has been as a core issue in the developing countries. It is affected by climate change nowadays. Climate change has created challenges in which pushes people to leave their own living locations or geographical areas, in which sometimes we see that even in Iraq now, drought is affecting a lot of great parts of Iraq, as well as other countries in Africa especially. Lack of public services as well has been affected by the pollution, as well as the lack of a global or regional as well as country context climate actions. Sometimes we see that the failure of all these issues that when we deal with green business as well as sustainability, as well as global actions that would influence our economies, those are mainly connected with governance system, in which governance system in the context of developing countries is, we can address it as crisis-based governance, because most of the times we have governments in which dealing with crises that are potential crises that became priorities, but they should be dealt with in a short-term on a short-term base, because sometimes we have, for example, a pandemic, sometimes we have conflict, sometimes we have wars, sometimes we have civil issues, political challenges. Those are all affecting, in fact, the broader sense of sustainability, which in fact it has been planned out by other countries, especially European countries and advanced economies. When we look at the sustainability as well as sustainable development, we have to see that what we have and how we would use it and how it would affect the future generation. We have to bear in mind that the future generation depends on the same climate, the same biodiversity, the same resources. Therefore, we have to be very careful when we are meeting our needs. Meeting our needs should not affect the meeting of the future generation. And taking into account environmental concerns, we have to remember that economic development has affected climate change as well as environment broadly. And when we speak about green businesses, we only see that green businesses would affect, in fact, environment on local, national, and global basis. We have to know that to what extent the success of green businesses as well as projects will contribute to the protection and conservation of natural resources as well as environment. Therefore, we have to see that green business should balance profit with harm to the planet or climate or environment. Most of the times we see that in the developing world, majority of the business projects only focus on creating benefit as well as profit. Therefore, sometimes we see that there are places in which you would see a business has created job as well as income for a portion of the population. However, it has indirectly affected the environment in that area or that region that the cooperation operates, which means that there is a lack of balance between profit as well as the harm, the environmental harm that this business creates in that place. Therefore, we have to remember those decisions that we make in regard of any cooperation. We have to see to what extent it will affect environment and climate. Country conditions are totally different when it comes to green business, when it comes to sustainability plans, when it comes to government development plans and strategic leadership of that government in place or in charge. When we look at climate action, we have to know that it would affect our works, our lives, and survival. And we have to remember that climate action means mitigating climate challenges or climate change and building resilient communities. When we say resilient communities would be those communities that in fact know the value of environment around us, the value of nature, the value of the resources that we have, and the way that we in fact aim to use them, as well as over exhaustion of those resources affect our future. Therefore, climate change in fact would on the long term affect the temperature, and temperature will affect our environment. It affects even our lives, such as, for example, nowadays we have a lot of health concerns, which are pandemics, epidemics, as well as, for example, in Iraq nowadays, we have a lot of cases of cancer. We have a lot of cases of other different diseases and illnesses that would need a lot of money or finance to deal with them. Therefore, environmental protection is one important key issue that would affect human life. Why we should be worried about sustainability as well as our survival is because all the man-made activities, especially the industrial activities, would affect climate. And in fact, in the past as well as now, as well as in the future, the man-made activities will shape again the future of our communities. It's not only in one place. I think we should think as if we are in the same boat, and one part of the boat would be at risk, the rest will be as well as at risk, because if you are in the same sea, then I think sailing in the same sea would direct you to where the goals and the destination of your people are. Industrial activities, mainly in the developing world, they are dependent on the natural resources, especially fossil fuels. And fossil fuels create a lot of emissions, CO2 emission, as well as a lot of harm to the environment. Therefore, we have to focus on how to create renewable resources that can reduce the negative environmental influence of those resources that can be an option for our economic activities. Lack of business impact on society, on financial sustainability, as well as on how the corporate social responsibility affects our communities. We have to know that when we deal with a business, we have to see what this business, in fact, brings to that geographical area. Does, as I said, only bring us or build us a road? It only brings us few job opportunities for certain people in the community, or will it bring change, or what it would bring with it? So we have to, as a government, as well as communities, we have to oblige those who they are in the business areas, or who they are the business owners or financiers. We have to push them to focus on balancing their own harms to the environment, because if we don't do it in advance, when the business corporations come and they start their operations in specific geographical areas, after 10 years or 15 years, they destroy the entire environment in that certain area. We have a lot of global actions or climate action initiatives. The first thing that we have to remember, which was very influential, that could be Millennium Development Goals, because it has priorities in terms of health, environment, economics as well. Again, when it comes to other protocols or laws or initiatives or specific agendas that have been, all of them, if anybody has for interest or for research or for might be teaching or might be curiosity, they have focused on those initiatives. You can see that human beings are at the center of those global actions. Besides climate, as well, I mean nature, planet, as well as environment, economy, and people. That's why we see that we are like triangle, that we have to be together. We cannot generate revenues without, in fact, using natural resources. And we cannot, in fact, get what we need as human beings from nature as well as from planet without exhausting them. However, there are new technologies, there are new techniques, new strategies that we can reduce the harms to the environment or climate. The rest of the agendas that we have seen, or the initiatives, as I said, Agenda 2030 has been very useful, but not very goal achievable in the developing countries, because in the developing countries we can see that now we are at 2024 and long way is passed. We passed a long way, but now the action plan is not very influential. However, we can see that parts of sustainable development goals, especially no poverty and employment, gender equality, quality of education, life underwater, all of them has been targeted, has been focused on. However, it's not as we aim, or it's not what we expect from our communities and government as well as stakeholders. European Green Deal will be another action plan, as I think, that will be very useful for European communities, because I lived in Europe and I live now in the Middle East. I know those are the specific packages for one region or specific goals for specific economies. However, we can see that European Green Deal would be very useful for Europe. However, if we take the short-term vision of it and the implications on the resource developing economies such as Iraq, such as Yemen, such as Iran, such as Nigeria, even Venezuela, those are the resource or fossil fuel economies, we can see that green transition will directly affect our labor economy and our labor market. And we can see it would be not very easy for us to modify the market in a short term or in a short time. However, on the long run, we have to see that European Green Deal will be very useful, because it can bring a lot of green businesses, it can bring a lot of international corporations, it can create more jobs for certain segments of the economy, because we can see that fossil fuel sectors are especially male-driven sectors, as well as foreign intense sectors. because they depend on the expertise that are from advanced economies, such as chemical engineering, engineering in general. Those are foreign labor intense, as I said. On the other hand, there are lack of women in the fossil fuel economies because of the nature of, as well as the structure of the economy. Therefore, those initiatives will promote more green businesses, such as renewable businesses that can give more opportunities, as well as give fair opportunities to female and male workers to work in the same sectors or might be different sectors. The rest of the initiatives are very important because sometimes a green business will be green in the nature of the business. However, if there are no environmental policies or regulations or restrictions on that business could be more harmful than be more profitable to the communities of that, as I said, specific geographical location. Therefore, we as global communities, we have to build or think of regional, country, as well as continental initiatives. Specifically, those are in Europe should be adapted, as well as should be modified based on our needs as well as our challenges to mitigate climate change and keeping climate neutrality ahead. There are many activities that we can work on that could contribute to climate action, in which resource efficiency should be the target for all sectors, all like stakeholders, the private, the public, community, civil society. We have to see that all the sectors in the same economy, if there is economic crisis, it will affect all together, not only one. If there's a health crisis, it will affect all together, not only one part of the population or one country in a region, but generally together. Promoting low carbon economy activities are very important, in which, as I said, it will be only achievable through green business, as well as through renewable based activities, or might be businesses, as I said, or small enterprises that would be renewable energy driven. Climate justice is very important when it comes to climate action, because when we see the picture of a just transition in terms of energy, I see it impossible in the context of developing countries at the moment, because just transition in terms of green transition will not be achieved, as I said, because of the structure of our economy, the country conditions, might be even labor market, such as like labor skills that we have, technologies that we lack, that we don't have advanced technologies, as well as the financial resources. Because sometimes when we see green transition or a green business, it may need more resources comparing to a traditional business that only might be basic tools, or might be means, or might be human resource. When we look at the new technologies in the developing world, we have to catch up with the advanced economies, because now we deal with AI. AI will shift labor market again. We look at labor markets and we only see the traditional labor market should be the same, economies should be the same. We have to change the pattern of the economies. We have to change the mentality of people, because mentality of people, consumer behavior in terms of green business, as well as renewable energy, as well as traditional energy usage is very important, because consumer as a citizen can really affect climate change, as well as would be the engine of success of any climate action initiatives. We have to see that balancing economic development with the environmental effects. As government, as well as the private sector, we have to see that to what extent that economic development would affect climate. Because sometimes, if, for example, in Iraq, most of the times we see that people are very proud, because we say that we have a production of 4 million barrels of oil a day, or might be we will reach 7 or 8. We are very happy, but we don't see the environment, how the environment in fact is suffering, how drought is affecting the environment, our land, how it affects the farmers, the people that they are living in those areas and locations. We have to see that it's very important to see that the economic development should be restricted based on the environmental harms that it may create or it may provoke. Government policies should be aligned, as I said, with all the climate actions. Might be in the last 10 years, we were not aware of what climate change has for us. But I think nowadays in every country, there are at least a group of people in the academia, in research, as well as in the government that are aware of the climate actions, the climate harms that energy and other activities affect the climate. We have to see that our environment, our mother nature is suffering due to our activities. And we have to see that human greed has no limit. Therefore, government policies has to limit the greed of the business as well as the greed of the economy or might be the stakeholders. Building partnership, I think, for climate action is very important, because if European Green Deal is useful for Europe because it is focusing on zero emission economy, it focuses on neutrality, it focuses on creating a lot of jobs in the renewable energy sectors, it will reduce energy dependency on Russia as well as other
Dr.
energy sources.
You have 2 minutes, please.
Yeah, I'm just finishing. So we have to be very careful on that one. Global partnership is very important. Those are the climate important SDGs that in fact now still we have time to work on them. Still we have time to develop and to create human behaviors that would be aligned on that specific SDGs. The last thing which I would love to show you is the European Green Deal, which is covering all the specific aspects that climate action needs and sustainability, in fact, requires. The future we need is a global action, local action, people action, because as I said, we may have governmental global actions, but still we need people's action because people are very important as a core moving leaders in that specific part. Integrating climate action into education programs is very important, into governance, into strategic and national planning is very, very necessary. I think awareness is very important. It could be in any way. Campaigns might be educational programs, courses, online promotion, all of it. Mitigating climate change should become a priority for public and private sector alike. Public policy should focus on development as well as balancing, as I said, environmental harms. Organizing the relationship between human beings and natural resources or nature is another important thing to deal with. Business and economic development must be, as I said, aligned with the well-being of human beings, because we as human beings with environment and economy, we need to be together to, in fact, survive. And the government in that sense plays a vital role. Therefore, we have to remember that when we focus on the green businesses, we have to see the role of government as well as private sector when it comes to the issues such as climate action, as well as green business development, and then sustainability in general. As Gandhi says, we in fact have resources enough for everyone, but that resources may not meet the needs of everybody. And I think it's very, very important for us as policymakers, as educators, to see sustainability at the core of our economic development. And thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Bayman, for the interesting sharings. And I think now we move to the next speaker. And our next speaker is Dr. Asmahan Al-Tahir. And Dr. Asmahan is the Dean of Business Faculty at Aqaba University of Technology in Jordan. So the floor is yours, Dr. Asmahan, and you have 20 minutes, please.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Doctor, for giving me that chance to share my role in this presentation. My presentation will be about adopting green practices for sustainable development. I will try to share PowerPoint. Related to my presentation. I'm waiting for it to appear. What? I'm sorry, I cannot share my presentation. If I put it in the, but it doesn't be noticed right now. Let me try, please. Okay, I will talk without the presentation. I will talk about adopting practical for sustainable development. Today, the first thing I will start with how we can talk about what is the difference between a green business and normal business. This is the point that I want to talk. Our session today is talk about climate, a green business, and sustainable goals. It's very important to connect those three concepts together. When we talk about 17 sustainable goals, we need to always think in a new initiative helpful for us to make our planet safe for us and continuous sustainable in the economic field, in the health sector, and educate people how this concept connected and how we apply it. When we talk about green business, we talk about all the business lie in their approach to environment impact. And this is very important for us to focus on approaches, give the environment impact. Also, when I talk about what, and this is completely different when I talk about normal business. Normal business is the first thing come in the company mind is to make a profit. But when we talk about a green business, we eliminate little the profitability and focus on the environment impact. And this is a start to be very, very important. Today, I will going to try to connect between the sustainable goals and the green business. As I mentioned, when I talk about a green business, I talk about integrate economic friendly practices into the different operation, include the companies, and try to use sustainable material, try to reduce wasting, try to conserving energy, try to minimizing carbon footprint. All of these things support the environmentally responsibility. And all companies need to look for initiative support the green business. Here below, I will going to connecting sustainable development goals with the green business. Give many ideas related, every one of them help one goals of sustainable development goals. First of all, I want to talk about the identify the relevant of sustainable goals with the green business. I always think that the goal number 17 for sustainable development goals is aligned with the business activity to make sure that we are all looking for a clean energy. When we talk about a clean energy, there is a lot of energy start to be used in the company, and they start to change their way of working, their way of manufacturing, their way of strategy in order to apply a new type of energy or a new type of business, be helpful for the whole planet and reduce the use, the capacity of energy, because as we know, from the first time Adam Smith started to talk about the materials, the first thing he talked about scarcity. All the material will be, if I don't know how to use it, I will lost a lot. We have a lot of new things related to climate. This is very new a change we didn't heard about before 10 or 18 years before. So we need to always be ready to be changed with those with this changing around us and be responsible to reflect the change in our strategy, in our work, to change the way of thinking, to change the way of doing business, to start a new way of working in the industry, to choose a new business model. All of this start to be very important. Also, when I talk about the sustainable development goals and green business, I need to focus on adopt a green business practices through implement environmentally friendly, practical, such as I mentioned before, the material, the energy. And when I talk about the production, I talk about Sustainable Development Goals number 12. It's about a consumption, about a production. So when you start to make a green business, one of the most important sustainable development goal you need to focus on and try to put initiative or help to apply such type of goals, you need to 12 goals. Also, when I talk about adopt green business practices, as I mentioned, we need number 13 goals related to climate action. And the first presentation talked a lot about climate, so I will talk about another part. When we talk about connect sustainable development with the green, we should talk about measurement and reports. All organizations today, all companies, if it's private sector or if I talk about public sector, we always need to write a mini report and diagnose the different situation, trying to make this applicable. To get most out the best of the sustainable goals in order to help the new generation. We are work now to help other in the future. Also, when I talk about the connect, we need to be sure everything with other people. This sharing should be internal the company. If I talk about business, I should talk about stakeholders. Every single company have a consumer, a supplier, a partner. All of these people, all of these parts have a responsibility to apply sustainability, and they should be part to get the outcome of this awareness of how it's important to apply such type of systems. Also, today I will talk about innovative and educate. When we talk about business and sustainable goals, from my experience in my country, lots of companies, lot of banks start to work in the 17 goals of sustainable, and they try to apply it in their business. Some banks give interest facilitate for the investor that want to invest in the green business from 10 to 15% if you invest in green business. So if you help the environment, you will get this interest or this facilitate, and this help a lot of investor to start to think a lot more and more in transfer from the normal business to a green business. Also, there is a lot of initiative internally by different university. They help the new student to give a new idea and try to apply it from a small business model in order to disseminate and the new idea related to you are part of this environment. You should think in a new way in agriculture, in fashion, in every single step you do it in the economic or in your own life. You need to be awareness for what you want to achieve, and you should be awareness that you have a role, and this role, very important, is to protect your planet. You are part of this your planet. You are, even though one person, but you can do a lot. It starts by one, then disseminate through the community, then from the world. We are part of this world. We should focus locally, as we heard from the first presentation, globally, locally, then disseminate the idea in the business. Today, I bring some new green business initiative. We need to apply. Maybe my initiative connected more and more for the Arab nation, because as we know, maybe a lot of European companies go more step in this field, and we need to be a part of this world and apply many project and many business model, help and support the green business, and help at the end of the day sustainable development goals, 17 goals, especially as I mentioned, my presentation focused in 7, 12, and 13. When I talk, the first initiative, it's almost already start to apply in my country, in Jordan, renewable energy solution. Lot of companies start to use the normal energy. They start to focus to make mini study related to the new energy, using the wind, using the sustainable material, the sustainable things that like everything we can use in order to reduce the cost of energy. And the cost of energy, one of the very, very big problem in the industry sector, especially in Arab nation, or in Jordan, let me say, because there's a lot of energy in many other countries like Gulf. Also, there's a new initiative start to apply in many countries. It's called circular economic model. This type of model is help really to reduce the waste and reduce the manipulation of the environment. Like when I talk about the car tire, at the past, they threw it in the land and leave it to make it as a garbage. And now there's a lot of company start to make from the car tire, make a tile and help them in the building. And this is just example of what I mean by recycler economy model. And a lot of people connect between the recycle of material and recycle of economy. Recycle of economy related to the whole economy, focus on the recycle of the wasting material. When I talk the recycle for the material, it's limited and smaller than the recycler economy. It's very important, and a kind of economy help the different company and to reduce the expenses and reduce the waste and reuse the different material in a different way and a new product. And this initiative, at the end of the day, all of it help the economy, help the business, and at the end of the day, help our planet to be less manipulation and the consequences of the climate issues. Also, when I talk about initiative, also I focus on Jordan in this part. When we talk about eco-friendly packaging, this is very important because there is a research study find that every napkin you use it is make more expensive in the economy. So there is if anyone or every individual reduce one napkin, you protect the climate. So because of that, we need to think in new packaging. When I talk about the packaging in my country, we talk about the plastic package. There's familiar a lot, and these plastics always make a lot of garbage at the end of the day. And we need to think in a new way to help our environment, to help our material, to really make a redesign for it in a way helpful to reduce the waste and reduce the manipulation. Sustainable
Dr. Ismahan,
yeah.
You have 2 minutes to conclude, please.
Yeah. For me, the last thing I want to talk about, I choose one of this initiative and talk about it, sustainable fashion. Sustainable fashion, what we mean by it. Zara, one of the very famous fashion company, they looking to apply the green business in their company by 2025. How they start to change the fabric, they start to use different color, they start to recycle the different fashion. They make a kind of a clothes bag, and a lot of people can resend the clothes that didn't want to use it more, and they can recycle this. And finally, I want to talk about one project in my university, Applied Science University. When I was there, I worked about something called Hot Prize. When we talk about Hot Prize, they talk about how we can support youth to create a new idea related to business green, and to help the environmental issues. So we get many ideas from the youth. We should work in this different idea and try to disseminate this idea and support this idea, because it's the start up for the whole society to be adopted with the different new concept, like green business, like you are part of this plant and you need to think more and more in the climate evolution and the climate change in the environment. At the end of the day, we cannot isolate between the green business and the different sustainable goals. As I mentioned before, I talk about the 3 goals, but at the end of the day, the 17 is helpful, and all of them we can apply a green business and try to think more and more in the climate issue in order to help our planet and help at the end of the day, our life and business. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Asmahan, for the enlightening presentation. So now we move to the third speaker, and our third speaker is Dr. Asha Bhatia. And Dr. Asha is the Dean of Research and Doctoral Studies at the Universal AI University in India. So the floor is yours, Dr. Asha.
Thank you very much, Dr. Wissam. If I can share my screen, please.
Can you please try? Okay.
Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Yes. But can you please put it in presentation mode?
Yeah, I'm trying to. Is this fine?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Wissam and Ms. Michelle Thatcher, for this opportunity. Hello, everyone. And I'm here to present on a topic, integrating green business sustainability and climate change in higher education. So I just saw a question being raised by one of the participants on, that was Eric from Jordan, on what is the role of academic institutes in promoting sustainability. So I hope my presentation will also, address a part of that question. Thank you. And moving on. So this is my institute, and you can see it's all green. And that's me. I am 25 years of experience in research, ESG, and I've had some leadership roles, an MBA and PhD in management studies, and some professional achievements. And I have an international patent from the government of South Africa for an IoT-based healthcare system. So that's a little bit about me. And moving on, what is the role of sustainability in higher education? And why must sustainability be integrated into higher education? So we see that I'll start with the UN's 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and the SDGs. So taking that into account, the higher education institutes have a crucial role in driving change. And the adoption of sustainability practices is not only a moral obligation, but it's a necessary response to global challenges. As an institutional commitment, Many of us are from the academia, and we know that when the accreditation bodies come, they require proof of ethics, responsibility, sustainability, and the integration of these SDGs into the curricula really helps a commitment to these values, and it makes it an essential for the modern higher education. Taking into account the student and the market demand. So the students who are entering the workforce, they should be prepared with an understanding of sustainable business practices. And that is where the role of sustainability in higher education comes in. When you look at the importance of ESG in a curriculum, so that actually equips the students with necessary knowledge, skills to lead and innovate in a world which is focusing on ESG practices. So what they can look at is energy consumption in terms of environment. They can understand energy consumption, pollution control. In terms of social, there are human rights that they need to know of, child and forced labor, community welfare, and how can this engage with the stakeholder. Then for governance, it's important to understand the quality of management, the independence of the board, and how do you mitigate conflicts of interest and the diversity of the board. So when we look at the role of higher education, these institutes actually work as catalysts for sustainable development. And we can look at 4 points. One is the education leadership. So our universities are actually positioned to educate future leaders. And if we embed SDGs into our curriculum, this will really help them. Talking about an interdisciplinary approach, any SDG, it requires a solution that is interdisciplinary, and it cuts across faculties to address complex global challenges, such as climate change, whether it's inequality or poverty. For community and stakeholder engagement, the HEIs, they can play a very important role in mobilizing communities. By aligning their strategies with the SDGs, the universities can forge large partnership with and contribute to the global sustainability efforts, impacting the society at large. When you're talking about institutional commitment, a deep institutional commitment to the SDGs is actually reflected in a university's vision, mission, and values, which ensures that sustainability is not just an add-on, but it's a core aspect. It is in the DNA of the institute. So here are a few examples of leading universities across the world and how they have embedded sustainability into their vision and the mission statements. So for example, the Tata Institute talks about an institute of excellence in higher education that continuously responds to changing social realities through the development and application of knowledge. Florida State University talks about promoting a culture of sustainable living in an open forum and to advance the practice of resource conservation. So similarly, University of Wisconsin talks about integrating and enhancing research and education efforts in sustainability science and practice across the campus. Similarly, for our university, at the Universal AI, if you see the vision, it is to create impactful knowledge and develop innovative, ethical, responsible, and global leaders who will transform organizations and society at large. And if you look at the mission, it talks about contributing to a sustainable future by promoting environment, nurturing prosperity, and positive social impact, creating positive social impact. Now, if we talk about how do you integrate sustainability in a higher education institute? I think it can be done through 3 aspects. One is the teaching, one is research, and practices. So talking about teaching, various universities, they're integrating sustainability into the curriculum. For example, the University of California has an interdisciplinary program which offers a strong foundation in sustainability, and it combines environmental science, policy economics, and social science. Similarly, the University of Oxford, it has a program called the MSc in Environment, Change, and Management. And this is focused on understanding and managing environmental changes. Similarly, for our university, we are focused on sustainability courses. Our entire curriculum, it's comprehensive. And it focuses on integrating sustainability into various aspects, whether it's business analytics, marketing, HR, finance, or operations. And we have a lot of courses which are coming up, which are addressing emerging sustainability challenges. There are various workshops and seminars that we conduct. And there's also experiential learning where students go out and they work on real world projects, and their internships are also focused on sustainability. They collaborate with local communities and to solve societal challenges. If you look at our curriculum, so we have in the MBA program, the business analytics, marketing, HR, finance, all has a green component. For the BBA program, we have the SMART project, which I'm going to talk about later. The BSc AI also has a SMART project. And the general management, we have started with a course called the Sustainable Business Practices. Now, what is Sustainable Business Practices? This is specifically for the postgraduate students, and it equips them with essential sustainability skills. Why is it important? Because we are preparing them to be future leaders. There's market relevance because a study shows that 88% of the consumers are more loyal to companies that support social or environmental issues. They can bring in an impactful change when they contribute to corporate goals and the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So we work with a comprehensive curriculum. There are experts who are invited to share their knowledge. There's practical application, which includes simulations and case studies. And there's a focus on future learning because all the students are prepared to become responsible, innovative leaders in sustainable business practices. I was talking about the SMART project. So this is Societal Causes Management Aptitude and Responsible Temperament. It's a credit course. And this course, it actually focuses on empathy and compassion. And it focuses on the triple bottom line of profit, people, and the planet. The students, all the students, they go out into a 10-day immersive learning experience into rural and the tribal villages of Maharashtra. And they work with the local communities, and they work with an NGO. That's the Light of Life Trust. And they address societal challenges. Now, there are different verticals of this project. One is healthcare, there's education, there's environment, and there's livelihood. Now, look at the impact that this project has created in the last 1 year. Around 360 students went out into those villages. They worked on different verticals. Almost 200 worked in the area of healthcare, 605 in education. 605 beneficiaries in education. Through the environment, they impacted 1,334 beneficiaries. They worked across 17 villages. And for livelihood, they worked with 1,858 villagers in 17 villages. Now, talking about research, we have integrated sustainability in research because as many of us are from the academia, we know that ASCSB focuses on a thought leadership that you must have in research. So our thought leadership in research is in the area of sustainability and AI. That's artificial intelligence. So all our conferences, our compendiums, our research is focused on these two areas. So when we are doing conferences like you see this one, it is a holy trinity of artificial intelligence, sustainability, and entrepreneurship. This was a case study conference that we did, Beyond Borders, explaining sustainable global perspectives. So the key themes of this conference was global cooperation, sustainable development goals, and the cross-border policies and practices. Now coming to integrating sustainability in practice, this picture speaks volumes because this was a barren land, transforming a barren land into a green pasture. This is how our university looks now. And this is a journey of sustainability. So when we talk about the environmental initiatives at Universal AI, so we are talking about reimagining sustainability, and that is our green mantra. So we have a very holistic approach to environmental sustainability, and we look at it through innovative initiatives and a commitment to green practices. We have a green zone. So we have sustainable architecture. Our building has been designed by an American architect. And we have double-sided wall cladding in buildings, which reduces emissions by almost 10%. It's a plastic-free and smoke-free zone. So we only use steel water bottles, and single-use plastics are completely banned on campus. So we have electric vehicles. We focus on eco-friendly transportation and energy. So outside vehicles are restricted so as to maintain a pollution-free environment on campus. We focus on clean energy innovations. We have solar installations, and actually we have a solar rooftop, and it functions as a parking area. We are also strong at water harvesting. So we have almost 2 acres of land, which has been, which is used for water harvesting. And we use techniques like drip irrigation, hydroponics, and sprinklers. Talking about waste management, we have a wonderful program that's called WOW. It's Well-Being Out of Waste. So this is an initiative for sustainable solutions, which includes plastic reduction, and we compost the waste to organic manure. There are different social initiatives. So we foster social responsibility and community engagement through various initiatives. One is building social capital. Like I said, we are situated in an area which has a lot of tribal community. So we have empowered almost 50 local tribal women and 550 of the community members. Developed livelihood for 314 local tribal farmers. Through capacity building programs, we've educated 500 local tribal children on health and hygiene practices. As Mahatma Gandhi said, the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in service of others. So our students are working on projects, on social entrepreneurship projects. We have collaborated with Enactus, which is the largest social entrepreneurship platform in the world. And the students work on projects. There are different projects, the initiatives. One is Project Panna, which provides employment opportunities to economically weaker sections. There's Project Kia, which actually destigmatizes menstruation. Project Ikshana, it raises awareness about preventable blindness. Project Roop is about managing plastic and recycling plastic. And there's Project Solar Light, which provides solar electricity to rural households through rechargeable solar lamps. Looking at governance initiatives, our philosophy is rooted in core values of trusteeship, transparency, ethical citizenship, empowerment, and accountability. So this is what the university believes in: upholding integrity, and empowering future leaders. This is the governance commitment. It's building equity and integrity in education. We have 50% of our women in leadership roles. The institute it was an earlier business school, and it was the top 5 green education institutes in India. It's India's first green business schools, and it's the 5 sustainable Indian campuses that have set an example for others. Now, when we talk about the role of higher education institutes, specifically in addressing climate change, so HEIs, or the higher education institutes, are positioned to influence the global response to climate change through innovation, advocacy, and the development of sustainable practices. So we can be influencers through innovation, advocacy, and sustainable practices through these 4 areas: research and innovation, and look at what the institutes across the world are doing. So we have institutes like the Indian Institute of Science. They're working on atmospheric and ocean sciences. There is, for education and awareness, there is TERI School of Advanced Studies, which offers specialized programs in climate sciences. Then there is University of Cape Town, which has an African Climate and Development Initiative, which integrates climate change education, particularly those focused in sustainable development in Africa. So this is all region-centric also. Campus sustainability initiatives, if I should talk about that, we could refer to the IIT Delhi, which has a campus which has undertaken various green initiatives, including solar power installations, waste management systems, and I think we also relate as a university to a lot of work that they have done. There's University of British Columbia, which has a Center for Interactive Research on Sustainability, which is a living laboratory that showcases sustainable building design and operations. Talking about policy and community engagement, there's the University of Melbourne. Through its Climate Transformations Research Cluster, the university engages with local communities to develop practical solutions to climate adaptations. And from India, we have the Ashoka Trust for Research in Ecology and the Environment, which works very closely with local communities and policymakers to promote biodiversity conservation. So you can see how the higher education institutes are addressing the issue of climate change across the world. And now to sum it all, I'll end with a quote of Guy McPherson, who said, "If you really think that the environment is less important than the economy, try holding your breath while you count your money." I think this quote says it all. Thank you very much. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you so much, Dr. Asha, for the interesting presentation and examples from your own campus. So I think now we open the floor for Q&A before we conclude the session. So Michelle, if you want to lead on that.
Yes, thank you so much. Amazing presentations. I am so inspired. Each and every one of these programs helps to give me more and more hope that the youth of our future, because of the work that each of you are doing at the universities, is going to create the most influential leaders to impact climate change and the environment in a positive way. So thank you, thank you, thank you for that work that you're doing. We have, and I want to give a huge credit to all of our participants. We've had so many questions coming in, and so I'm going to, well, first I'll start with Musab. I see you have your hand up, so go ahead and ask the first question, and I have a whole bunch of other questions that have been typed in.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for this opportunity. I'm Musab from Jordan. I'm a senior. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Okay. I'm a senior environmental specialist, and I've been working on several environmental projects so far. I'm working in green chemistry, circular economy, resource efficiency, and cleaner production. I'm a member of the cleaner production unit at the Royal Scientific Society in Jordan. In my opinion, actually, I've been in this field for 15 years now, and I do believe that in Jordan we have achieved huge milestones in this regard. Now we have a lot of works going on. When we speak about green businesses, I do believe that economy and environment luckily are now going along together. So there is no need to worry about if I'm doing business, I need to be environmentally friendly to have the profitability in my business. And of course, it will open new markets for me. The first speaker has spoke about the European Green Deal and all the other, let's say, presentation speaks about different initiatives around the world. So and in Jordan, we have a lot of initiatives to connect academia with industry. I would love to ask if anybody have think about inviting industry to share these kind of let's say seminars, because when we talk about academia, if academia stands alone, the application should be in other areas. The application will be in the industrial part. So
that's a great question. Who would like to answer that? That's really important. Dr. Asha or others?
We can answer if
Yes.
the thing when it comes to academia, who produce knowledge in the communities? Mainly when we see the higher education or academic institutions, we can see that from the small projects starting, as well as to the big leading, in fact, corporates or might be businesses. They are all in fact, the outcome of education. As far as I know, might be Dr. Asha would agree with me as well, because if you build or create knowledge, that knowledge would be transferred to the private sector as well as to the community. So I think it could be very important to share the knowledge, in which in the universities, majority of the time is for business practices. We will send the students to that field because we want to get the practical part from that community. But when it comes back to knowledge, majority of the policymakers even sometimes consult with the academic institutions, especially the policymakers, sometimes in decision-making arenas as well. So I don't know if Dr. Asha as well wants to add anything to it.
Yeah, I agree with what previous speakers said, and I just want to add to that, because it's very important to have the industry and the academia working together. So we invite the industry speakers or industry professionals to come and address our students. And for all our conferences, seminars, we have the industry professionals who come and address students and share their experiences. And it was said that, you should have it's knowledge that is created by the academia, which is shared. So we invite the professionals to share the best practices. That is something which we can also create case studies and share it along with share it out. Okay. So that goes out, and it goes out as best practices. So that is very motivating for the industry professionals as well. I hope that addresses the question.
Yes, thank you so very much. I didn't realize I was on mute. Thank you. And I'll ask one of the questions that came in for Dr. Asmahan. It said, hello from Afghanistan. As you know, Afghanistan is just suffering and being affected by other countries, and international councils didn't approve the budget for Afghanistan because of the Taliban. So what should be the negative impact on the future of our country, and how can Afghan people receive funds for work on climate?
This is a question for me?
Yes.
Asmahan? Okay. For all the countries that have political struggles or have unstable and the political, they face a lot of a problem related to the revolution, related to attract investment. And when we talk about the green business and we talk about sustainable, we talk about many initiatives, we talk about many visitors should be come. How we can make the world more quiet, how we can go forward and applying more and more sustainable goals for the country that they face a lot of struggles and the situation. I know it's very hard and very difficult for them. From my point of view and my experience, I can talk about the sector, the academy sector. I always think that the youth, they can always take the first step in anything in you, and the university can make and the education institution can disseminate the culture, the sustainable culture, and the all the concepts related to how to face the climate change, how we can protect our material, how we can reduce the cost. When you talk about unstable, you talk about poverty in high level, and this needs a lot of strategy and many helps from the different institutions and all over the world to help those people that struggles and they face very problem, and all they looking for is to have a quiet and peaceful life, and maybe they cannot go to far of this. But we always hope to be one word and work and help for every single country need help through collaboration project and coordinate with the different institutions, help in this field to introduce more initiative, help this area that have many problems related to many sectors, not only the green business or the climate or the sustainable goals. That's.
Thank you so very much. I really appreciate it.
Sorry, I
And-
can't hear you.
Oh,
The
can you
voice?
hear us? Yes, thank you so much. And we'll mix this up. And George, I see you have your hand up if you would like to ask a question.
Yes, thank you, Michelle. First of all, my congrats to the organizer, to Mr. Westham, for this new, very insightful conference. Um, I have two questions, especially for. And anyway, congrats to the presenters. I'm sorry I couldn't make it earlier because of another meeting with the UNEP G07. But my question is for Dr. Asha. I would like to know if two issues. If the university he is representing is using artificial intelligence in deploying the educational program. And the second question that I would like to know is related to these transformative pathways that the scientists have proposed regarding the multiple planetary crisis, meaning the technology pathways and behavior social change pathways. And the question is regarding the behavior social change pathways, if the university he is representing has such a program in this area, because I think the education and the behavior change of the population is one of the most important tool to address these challenges related to the multiple planetary crisis. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And Dr. Asha?
Thank you, Mr. George, for this for the questions. So yes, our institute, we are integrating artificial intelligence, and we are gearing up our students so that they're aware of how to use artificial intelligence responsibly. So we have integrated artificial intelligence in all our curricula. And the other thing that we have a School of Future Tech, which is focused on artificial intelligence and machine learning. The other question that you had about the technological pathways and social behavior. So we have a new program, which is AI in Liberal Arts, where we're going to study about how artificial intelligence technology is affecting social behavior of people. So that is something that we have also realized that this is going to be the future and it is going to impact in future. So we have started the course this year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I know that we have another question that is, what do you think of, this is from Indira. So Indira was so kind to ask wonderful questions here. What do you think about how governments and international bodies can create policies that effectively support green businesses? And I'll just add to that, yeah, are you or the students taking any action on those policies? And whoever would like to answer that question.
I can give some points here. I'm Asmahan. The government, by a legitimate, by different laws, by different, they can make a difference. They can make a change. Of course, all the new project, all the new idea, usually, especially in the Middle East, should support it from the government, from the public sector more than the private sector. This is maybe happen in the opposite in Europe, because the investor is have a lot of money and they can make and took the danger of invest in different new idea. So as a new business model need really new business model, a new strategy. We need to add the business green laws and legitimate in our different new strategy, because it's not related to one part. It's related to the whole economic. As I mentioned before, when I talk about the recircular economy and how much this type of economy help the different company that they don't have a lot of material to create and make recycle for the product from the wasting materials. And this is very important. If we have a regulation, if we have a strategy support this type of initiative, I think it will be helpful for the green business to disseminate more and more. Also, I want to thank the doctor that take about the social and behavior and the attitude at the end of the day of the people, of the citizen. It's very also important to help the green business and to help in the climate issues. And it's all about habits and way of acting and way of how you think, how you consume the consumer issues. All of this is very important, and they need to focus more and more, because at the end of the day, as we mentioned, it's our planet and we are part of this. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. And I see we have a question from Shri Ram. If you would like to ask your question. Can you hear us? And you'll have to take yourself off mute. From Shri Ram. Okay, well, as we're waiting for Shri Ram, I'll go ahead and ask another question.
Hello.
Dr. Oh, yes, go ahead.
Hi, good evening. I just asked a small query about the educational systems and how it related to, especially from the government point of view, the political things as well as the educational systems for these climate change projects. So how they can interlink with each other, that can be really helpful for the sustainability growth, especially when it comes to the point of the sustainability projects like green projects and energy management policies.
And who did you ask that question for in particular?
Asha, Dr. Asha.
Perfect. Thank you for your question.
So I'll try and answer that. And if someone else wants to chip in, please do. So thank you for that question. I think, like I said, as a hub of knowledge, the education institutes, we are trying our best to make a mark and to, sensitize students and work together with them for these projects or on these projects which are on climate change. And I'm sure these are related to policies across every country. So we may not be making a very huge impact, but I think every small step matters, and that's how we are contributing.
Thank
Dr.
you.
Asha,
Does
if
anybody
I
else?
may,
Yes,
if I
please.
may to add to what he said, in fact, when it comes to the designing public policies, if the government is political party based, then the political leadership has a great influence on how to design the economic activities. And that comes with the governance system in which it designs the policies and formulates the regulations that regulate the business and the industries as well.
Thank you so much. Really good feedback, great questions, everyone coming in. And since you're already up, Dr. Pyman, I have a question from Eric. Considering Iraq's unique environmental and economic landscape, what are some of the most pressing sustainability challenges the country faces, and how is the academic community contributing to addressing these issues?
In fact, for Iraq, similar to the many other countries in the developing world, it's a post-conflict country. And when we say it's a post-conflict country, we have to see that it has a fragile economy so far. The population growth is very fast, in which we are expecting now to have more than 70 million people in the 2015s, which is mean that a lot of young generation, which is another issue, which would be a pressing challenge for the government as well as for the private sector and for the community, which is unemployment. Because when you have population growth and the Iraqi community is a young community, and that young community means that we need economic diversification as soon as possible, because only economic diversification can support and contribute to, in fact, changing the economic landscape of Iraq, because the economic landscape has created a lot of challenges environmentally, socially, and economically. If you have got the answer.
Yes, thank you so very much. And I know we have more questions here. Here is one for Dr. Asmahan, and it is from Indira, who unfortunately had to leave. But what do you think are the biggest challenges businesses face in implementing sustainable practices, and how can they overcome them?
Okay, thank you. The big challenges is the lot of privilege coming suddenly to the for us, and when I talk about Jordan, and this refugees is sharing the country with the water, with the different material, and this very, very big challenges. And because of that, we need always support, and we need always to think the new initiative help to be to disseminate this material in equity or in fair way. Always one of the big problem is the situation of the political around the Middle East affect a lot of big investment on the economic sector and make it go forward slowly. And this is very big challenges. We not always to looking for the peace. And one of the climate conference, our King Abdullah talk about the climate problem and about how the water problem, because we have a lot of problem in the water issues. So this is part of issue we need to face it, and looking for a new way of strategy initiative in order to reduce the waste at the end of the day, in order to get more collaborative with the other country or the other people, in order to reduce the loss, in order to go forward and be sustainable and be helpful for the new generation. At the end of the day, the economic sector have lots of crises. All the global crisis affect Jordan, as I said, also the political, and this is a very big challenges. Because of that, always Jordan looking to attract investment from outside Jordan to collaborate with them. Some of them think that all the Middle East is bomb, and this is not right. We have we affected by what happened in Palestine, but at the end of the day, Jordan can make forward and many steps in order to make every single citizen be part of the new strategy, be part of new business, green business, new business model. It's very, very big. I can't usually isolate between economic and political and business. It's connected. It's a kind of cycle. Everyone have a problem, affect the other. But at the end of the day, we're looking for peace. We're looking for new initiative and new idea help us to be more safe.
Great answer. Thank you so very much. And I got caught up with such wonderful conversations and dialogue and questions and answers that I didn't realize that we were quite a bit over our allotted time. But I wanted one more question, if it's okay with the speakers. And Dr. Asim, if you can unmute yourself and ask your question, because I know you were having trouble raising your hand there. Dr. Asim?
Yes. Hello. Hello. Can you listen?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. I was just wanted to ask because being from Pakistan and in the region of Southeast Asia, where almost 1/3 of the world population is living. And when we talk about most of the systems incorporating the artificial intelligence and sustainable goals, then we are actually excluding a very huge manpower out of the system, because incorporating these artificial intelligence systems, most of the time we are actually getting independent of the human manpower. But all these sustainable goals actually have to be in such green phase where the human resource must be incorporated very positively and very constructively, because dealing with more than about 3 billion people in this part of the world, I think that would be a major issue in the coming days when we are becoming more independent of the regular workforce, and we will be relying on most of the systems operated by the machines or the computer systems. So if somebody could answer, thank you.
Who would like to answer?
May I?
Yes, please.
We have heard this before, that technology is going to take away jobs. So when the calculators came in, we faced the same concern. When the computers came in, we faced the same concern. And now with artificial intelligence, it is the same concern. But do we realize that all of us are using artificial intelligence in some way or the other? And it is important. Actually, artificial intelligence is not going to take away jobs. It's actually going to help all of us. And it is important that we integrate this in some way or the other in our lives, because whether it is in the urban areas, whether it is in the rural areas, you will see that this is, people are using it. They are using technology, whether it is a simple form of the mobile network, the mobile phones. So much of the education is happening through mobile phones. I read of one project, I think in Pakistan, where they were using mobile phones for educating people in the rural village. So I think we have to take it as a boon rather than as a bane. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And any further thoughts on that from our speakers?
In fact, I just want to add one comment, which is, as Dr. Asha said, one important thing is that transition is taking place. No matter, it could be green transition, it could be circular economy, it could be AI, new technologies, new challenges as well. Therefore, we need to reskill people. Nowadays, we have a lot of expertise in the market that there are no jobs for them. And it was not because of AI, in fact, it's because of the formulation of labor market into different directions. That's why we have to get prepared as academic institutions, as the labor market, the government and private sector, to reskill people and prepare people for the new labor market trends that we would, in fact, face in the future.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Really important information. I also just dropped in, because we started the policy conversation. I dropped in a link to a web page that has access to over 500,000 environmental sustainability focused policies. And what we did is we put together we researched a variety of different databases that had environmental or sustainability focused policies, and we dropped it into one area that you could search from a global perspective, a country perspective. We have a variety of different countries that just are even showcasing their environmental policies. And so I wanted to just point that out since we were talking about it. But I want to say thank you so very much. I'm going to pass this over to Dr. Boisson, but I want to just genuinely thank our speakers for providing such insightful and informative information, and really understanding how universities are integrating business sustainability practices and education into their curriculum, and just their practices overall as far as university-wide. So thank you so very much. And Dr. Wissam, I'll have you do the closing remarks.
Yeah, thank you so much, Michelle, for co-moderating the session. And I would like to thank all the speakers and all the interesting presentation and discussion. I think this is one of the best webinar that we have. And I think we will continue the series of webinars to keep the discussion. And I agree on, you know, keeping the discussion and integrating the, improving the collaboration between academia, NGOs, and the business as well. And so we'll see you again next month in our webinar. We'll have again, you know, some prominent speakers from various institutes with various backgrounds like what we had today. So thank you so much for your time. And again, the collaboration between the Global Ambassadors of Sustainability and the Global Green Chamber of Commerce will continue, and we'll keep building up those initiatives to enhance the efforts of advocating on sustainability and climate action. Thank you so much, and have a good time, everyone.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.